Tamika began her career in Citi in 2001 as Associate of Global Loan Portfolio Management Team and has gained broad experience across banking during her more than 2 decades with the firm. That experience supports her role leading to specialized global client coverage teams that provides banking service and solutions to mid-sized corporates and retail verticals. These services include advisory and execution to help companies access capital, expand internationally, manage risk and cash, and improve treasury planning. Tamika is also a member of Citi's U.S. Political Action Committee Advisory Council and serves as a global representative for Citi Women, co-leading the North American Cluster and Black Women at Citi committees. She remains active in Citi's recruiting efforts, partnering to develop relationships with Florida A&M University and other HBCUs, and is a multi-year recipient of the firm's Citizen Award. Tamika serves on the board of the Council of Urban Professionals and co-chair of Empower's Advancing Women of Color and Tech Coalition. She began her career as an engineer with Procter & Gamble after receiving her Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from Florida A&M in 1997 and MBA from University of North Carolina Business School. Ms. Tamika Anderson. Our next speaker for this evening is Brother Kwame Dow. Brother Kwame Dow is the Chief People and Strategy Officer for YMCA in the Greater Los Angeles. Mr. Dow brings his world-class expertise in transforming culture and maximizing workforce efficiency. He has diligently collaborated and developed relationships with industry giants like NBC Universal, DreamWorks of Nova, and the state of California, to name a few. His extensive expertise in career management of multi-million-dollar budgets and workforces of over 600 employees demonstrates his strategic and financial acumen to lead a multitude of organizations and professional businesses to success. For over 30 years, Mr. Dow has been a living example of his personal philosophy. In everything you do, you have to first be of service. Initiated into Omega Psi Phi fraternity through Beta chapter in 1993, his journey has been one of an unwavering dedication, culminating into a transformative term as the 34th 12th District Representative. As a leader of the massive and progressive 12th District, Kwame and his team have revitalized and reinvigorated the Brotherhood, capitalized on investments district-wide, and achieved the highest financial membership in history. Most importantly, he invested in the future of Omega by reactivating 9 undergraduate chapters and chartering 3 graduate chapters at his discretion. His steady but stern leadership, commitment to growth, and legacy of the greatest fraternal organization is an example to all Omega men and those who have witnessed his unwavering acts of service to the community. Brother Dow is a committed family man. He has been married to his college sweetheart, Nicole, since 1999, and they are proud parents of a daughter, Jazz. He has nurtured his connection to Beta chapter and as a dedicated supporter in word and deed over 3 decades. This blend of executive leadership, professional excellence, and steadfast loyalty is Kwame Dow. Brother Dow. And tonight's event will be moderated by Brother Dr. Chris Irving. He is the Director of Schools for the City of East Orange. Brother Irving.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So we're going to have a wonderful discussion tonight, looking in and looking forward, and talking about the condition of black folks and where we are in this country, and having 2 esteemed panelists here. One wonderful sister, Dr. Sigma Theta, who sits before us, and our esteemed frat brother from Bloody Beta Chapter, or that triangle. Some of the brothers should know. But my name is Brother Dr. Christopher Irving. I'm the Superintendent of Schools for the City of East Orange, former elected official, and proud to serve this community as the head of the entire school district. Initiated fall 2001 Tau Beta chapter, and it's an honor to be here with the brothers of Beta Pi chapter. Truthfully, my path in fraternity actually began here in this chapter, and so it's on the shoulders of brothers who helped brought me in at that time. Brothers like Keith Bell, brothers like Joe Gardner, brothers like Jack Farrell, brothers like Keith Bell, who helped brought me into this fraternity. And so I just wanted to celebrate and acknowledge the great work that Eta Pi has done, not just in this community, but throughout the state of New Jersey. Let's give these brothers a wonderful round of applause. So we want to begin tonight with throwing a softball question, all right? And you know it's not going to be soft, the first one. All right. We have an expert in finance and banking. We also have a brother in business and philanthropy and service with us. We've heard, especially since the close of the election last week, this conversation around affordability. And I got some. This country is becoming less and less affordable for all people, but especially black and brown people as such. And so when it comes to the word improvement or affordability, from your respective vocation, from your work, from your experience, what do you think that means for us, as a black community? And most importantly, what can and what should we do as citizens, as fraternity brothers, as sorority sisters, as black folks in your period, to continue that mantle, especially during these challenging times? And I can begin with either of them. Okay. All right. Brother, you got to defer me, bro.
No problem at all.
All right.
All right, can you hear me? All right, perfect. Yeah, no problem at all. I think one of the most important things right now is access. Where this country stands right now, there are a number of things that are being taken away. And we have to focus on access. The things that make this country great, or a period of time made this country great, was the access that everyone had to the American dream. The opportunity, we were just talking a moment ago, I'm originally from Guyana, South America, and my parents grew here with visions of having a better opportunity for business. And the opportunity really was around education. And the ability to have the best possible educations here in the U.S. We all went to college. That was the standard. We all had majors that were less creative than I think we've been able to give our children the opportunities to have access to. My daughter's a costume design and economics major, costume design major, economics minor at DePaul University. If I had said to Frank Dow, hey Dad, I want to be a costume designer,
What would we say?
probably not.
Right.
Yeah, probably not. But access is the thing that I think is really important right now. You see in the schools they're taking away access to books. You see in the schools they're taking access to scholarships. They're taking access away to programs. From a hiring standpoint, I'm an HR professional, so I make sure that people who look like us have as many opportunities as they possibly can. But the thing we have to talk about is actually showing improvement once we get there. So the thing that we need to be focused on is making sure that we remain to have access.
Certainly, that softball came fast and hard. Had to pivot. But when I think about this, and I think about sort of really what has changed, really over the last 11 months, is that it's about community. And I think, even settings like the one that we're in tonight, I feel like we're taking it, maybe sources, or even just helping their family out because they're just in a pinch. And so those are some of the things that I've been doing sort of as a sister, and I encourage other people to do as well.
Well, I'm going to go kind of a different route. So, because I would have tied to that 93 thing. So I was initiated Beta chapter in 1993, in the spring of 93. So we got a common thought in that respect. One of the things that I'm heavily involved in is making sure that the next generation of Omega men, particularly from Beta chapter, but also from the undergraduate chapters, you heard a number of undergraduate chapters are reactivated, making sure that they have the resources that they need to be successful. Every once in a while I'll meet a brother who will say, hey Kwame, I want to be just like you. And I say, no. I want you to be better than me. Because the bar, for me, is a low bar. I want you to think higher. I want you to think in a way that it's unimaginable for you. It's unimaginable for you. Because the reality is that people who look like you think about things in ways we can't even imagine. They walk in the room and they get access to things that we will never have access to. So I want you to think aspirationally in that respect. So, I was keynote speaker at Dating New earlier today on campus of Lincoln University and talking to the young brothers about the greatness that's within there. So it starts there. It starts there. We've got to reinforce just the power that is within there to make sure that we pull it out so we see it. Now, from a business standpoint, so, I'm Chief People and Strategy Officer for the YWCA, not the YMCA, the WCA. So you talked about, the impact that women make in the world. Part of my job is really to reinforce that. Now you might say, all right, well, Kwame, you're not a W, you're actually an M. I was like, yeah, that's right, but I'm also a girl dad. And my job has been, since my daughter was born, is to, and I'll clean it up a little bit, my job is to move stuff out the way, okay? And her job is to get it done. And I'm really good at my job, and she needs to be even better at hers. So my job at the YWCA is, regardless of the policy of the people who are in the Oval Office, our job is to make sure that we continue to bring resources to the community. So what we've had to do is we've had to lean on private, funding. We've had to lean on, foundation funding. Move away from the access to, government grants. Now, I live in a state, California, where, Brother Gavin Newsom is not holding back the dollars. He's not scared at all. But when it comes to governmental federal dollars, we found ways to go around it. But we, like you, we pick and choose where we have the discussions, where we decide to lean in, because we want to make sure that we have access to, or we bring access to those who need it the most. Hope that answers your question.
And I love that point, because I try to tell everyone, to your point, let's pace ourselves, right? Because if we exhaust ourselves over the next 4 years, we still have to be here, when this comes and goes. And hopefully, and I do believe it will come and go, but the question will be, where will we be, and are we going to be ready, to pick back up the work and where we are. But for the folks who are here, I just want to be clear, we're going to have maybe 3 or 4 more questions, and then we're going to actually open it up to the audience. And so what we don't want to do is just be talking heads, so to speak. And so I'm going to ask if there are questions that you have. Feel free in about 20 minutes or so. Throw your hand up. I'll come over to you. We'll have our questions. Feedback. We'll have some questions from the panelists thereafter. But Brother Kwame, you touched upon the notion of mentorship, right? And the importance of mentorship. And I will say, I certainly wouldn't be where I am as superintendent of schools had it not been for several great mentors in my life who pushed me, inspired me at 35 years of age to become a superintendent of schools. And one of the youngest in New Jersey, for that matter. And I'm sure you all, and many of us, wouldn't be where we were if we didn't have somebody in our lives pushing us, pouring into us, bestowing upon us the jewels and information that we needed to be able to get where we were. If you don't mind, share something significant about an individual who's mentored you and someone you've mentored, and what the key connection has been between kind of above and moving forward handout level, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem at all. So generally when I'm asked a question, or if I ask somebody a question during the interview process, I hate it when they deviate from the question. I'm going to deviate a little bit. You asked me for one, but I'm giving you 2.
Do it.
So from a mentorship standpoint, I'll say my oldest brother, Frank, was the biggest mentor for me, 10 years, 16 days older than me. He passed away, unfortunately, 5 years ago. But the thing that he reinforced in me more than anything is that there's not anything you can't do. And also celebrating the things that I thought were little, but he knew that the little things would add up to lots of things. So, Frank, taught me to be a great dad. Frank taught me to be a good friend. He taught me to be a good brother, and a responsible citizen. there was nothing that I couldn't do because of my big brother. So I'll talk about Frank in that respect. So I've answered one. Now, part two, how I became an HR executive. So when I got out of college in Lincoln, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I got a degree in political science, history, and fine arts. I thought I was going to be a lawyer initially, then I thought I was going to be a politician, and I was like, you know what, politics, regardless of how good you are going into it, it often pulls you to the left or right. So I decided to just kind of graduate, because Frank Dow and Winona Dow, they were only paid for 4, not more. So I got that degree, and I got into the workforce, and I met a young lady who was an HR vice president. And she said, hey, Kwame, if you ever think about leaving the job that you're at, you should call me. So I decided to leave the job I was at, and I didn't call it. So she found out that I was leaving, and she was like, hey, didn't I tell you to call me? I said, yes. And she interviewed me or brought me in, and she hired me in my first role in HR. So I started in payroll services in HR, and then I went into HRIS, so systems. Then I got into recruiting, and then after recruiting, employee-employer relations. And if it wasn't for that young lady, I wouldn't be where I am today. If it wasn't for Frank, I wouldn't be where I am today. So those mentors really influenced me. And now, someone that I mentored, when I was district representative, my second vice district representative, who's the undergraduate in charge of undergraduates, we were getting into the summer. And I said, hey, what's your internship this summer? He said, well, Brother Dow, I don't have one. I said, okay, you're coming to work for me. He said, well, hold on, don't I have to interview? I said, you're coming to work for me, okay? So I hired him. At that point, I worked for a engineering company, and he was an engineering major. And so I hired him, brought him in. Every Tuesday, he'd come to my office. We'd go to lunch, and we'd talk about what he had learned that week. And he was absolutely blown away that I gave him that opportunity. And I said, look, I gave you the opportunity, but by the end of the summer, the CEO was asking me what he was doing after graduation. I gave him the opportunity, but he took advantage of the opportunity, right? So from a mentorship standpoint, I wanted to show him what it looked like. And again, what I said before is I'm a low bar. I need you to exceed me.
Can I just jump in real quick? Because I got to just hone in on that point, because I think it's an important piece, right, about giving opportunities. I'm sure, sister, you can fall into this. But I will say, and I see it all the time. In the school district that I have the pleasure of serving, I have close to 2,000 employees, right? And most of the employees, are folks who are black and brown. But one of the greatest, I think, gifts that I have as an employer is to do just that, is to give opportunities. And I tell folks all the time, I don't give jobs to people, I give opportunities. What you do with it is completely up to you, right? But to be clear, I have seen in the space, whether it's in education, in the business world, that black folks, sometimes we are so fearful of giving opportunities to other folks who look like us. When people who don't look like us hire their cousins, their brothers, their teach sisters, and brothers. And I think we, as leaders, who have access and opportunity, have, I think, a responsibility, to open the door and to let people walk in. Now, I'm not saying hand people something. I'm not saying hook up, Billy. But what I am saying is to crack that door open, because the door is cracked open for us. If you all don't mind, just talking about that philosophy and why you chose to do that, because I think that's so critical, right? Because some people just in leadership, we get scared, straight up.
So, look, I'll tell you, I'm really good at what I do. Like, I'm really good at it, right? And this is not me, like, being braggadocious.
No, you talk, dog. That's right.
And part of being really good at what you do is I'm not fearful.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll think about the current role that I'm in, and even the role that I was in prior to this. When I interviewed with CEOs, I said, hey, look, if you're looking for somebody to agree with you all the time, you're hiring the wrong person. Yep. My job is to be an excellent mentor. My job is to do the blocking and tackling, get things out your way so you can be the CEO, right? I don't need you handling, issues that really should be on my desk, okay? So I let people know up front that I can do it for you, I can do it for you, I can do it for you. So I don't have to do it for you, if you get my point.
Absolutely.
So there are opportunities that I can find in other places. So that is the reason that I'm not afraid of giving opportunities to people who look like me, right? But now I make it clear. The opportunity is presented to you. You have to take advantage of it, okay? So that means coming in on time. That means doing your best. Look, when I grew up, my parents told me I had to be 10 times better than anybody who didn't look like me, okay? And it wasn't about using that as a crutch. It was about making sure that you know the reality of what you're going to every day. So when I put that armor on, and I walk through that door every day, oh yeah, it's Kwame Dow. Yeah, you better believe it, right? And we're going to make sure that not only am I going to represent, no, I'll say this one last thing and then I'll pass the mic, because I could talk on this subject certainly forever. You know, before I left for Lincoln, my parents told me, anytime you're thinking about doing something that's on the fringe, remember, you've got that name on your back.
Wow.
That Dow name on your back. You represent me, you represent your mother, you represent your brothers and sisters. And I'll take that even further. I represent my community. So when I think about the work that I do every day, I represent all of those people. I represent each one of you. So from a mentorship standpoint, if you're not mentoring somebody, you need to, okay? And that mentorship starts with telling them, and I said it before, letting them know the greatness that's within them.
The whole lot, sis.
I was going to say,
A whole
where do you
lot.
want me to start?
Wherever you feel comfortable.
Where do I feel comfortable? I think just in terms of the mentorship piece, I'm in banking and I'm in Wall Street banking, so it's very different.
You're dealing with money.
Yeah. And I deal with lots
Not money.
lots of zeros, lots
Right.
of corporate, lots of egos.
Yeah, sure.
And so I
Sure.
think that, it's been a very, I majored in engineering, so I always, very technical, I'll be like you, I was very smart, right? So from that perspective, I always had sort of really the technical know-how to really be in the room, but there was, really one mentor, and, for those who have been in and around Wall Street, Ray McGuire, who ran for mayor a couple of years ago for the city of New York, and now is with Lazard, but he was with Citi for a number of years. And he, mentored me all along the way. And what he was for me was not only a person that could, share insights and help me sort of from a navigation standpoint, but to your point, he was a person that would ask questions. Like, for instance, like if there was, we were coming up on reviews or something, he wasn't shy about picking up the phone and saying, well, how's Tamika doing? Yeah. And whether they had an answer for him or not, they were going to get an answer, or now they were going to have to pay attention to what was going on. And so that was sort of really something that he really, by doing that for me, it was a great example of what I could do for others, like once I got into the seat. And then the other thing that he really taught me was that, sort of when I was striving for the managing director promotion, which is the highest promotion when you're, within the bank, on Wall Street, he was like, well, I know you're focused on getting it, but he says what you need to ask yourself is what you're going to do with it once you get it. And I mean, it was a mic drop moment. He kind of walked out of the room, sitting there like, okay, what am I going to do with it? And so I think that's when really, leaning into that passion in terms of opening the doors and not being afraid to put in the calls and so forth. I actually had someone ask me the other day, why did you? And this was a soror, because it was another soror that now works for the bank. Well, why did you feel like you could recommend her, for the bank? And I was like, well, why not? Because she was highly qualified. She had all of the credentials. All I did was, she told me she had already taken a step and applied for the job. I just called the hiring manager and the recruiter and said, hey, this is a candidate I've had a personal interaction with. I think she's worth, a very strong look. She has it. It was very easy, very simple. And like you say, they do that all the time. I'm just creating, opening the door and creating the opportunity for you to really step through it. So I think those are things and habits and things that we have to continue to do, particularly in this moment, when we're in the seat, being able to be in the seat and actually use it, for the enrichment of our community.
And to that point, you are a black woman in a senior leadership role. Yes, you are, my sister. In a senior leadership role, in a Fortune 500?
Or like probably 10, but it's like.
10, right.
It's still, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, largest, one of the largest global.
But one of the largest global organizations in the world, right? In a country where to be a black woman has to be, at times, a daunting challenge, professionally, socially, politically at times, and we saw what Sister Harris just went through, her election, just being a black woman and owning her own space. And what would be your advice, and just kind of sticking with the mentor theme, for women who are looking to move up, move in, step out to step in to positions of authority and leadership roles? How do you give advice, or what do you share based on your experience that you think has helped you as a black woman navigate, spaces that didn't already look and be racial or even gender-based spaces for you?
Well, first and foremost, it just starts with, you gotta be good at what you're doing, and that is, and I think that it should be the standard for everyone, but it absolutely has to be the case for us in terms of, it is, Tamika she is a great banker, by the way, she's black, what have you. And so that for me, that's where it really all started. It starts with that excellence. It starts with, doing the work and showing up better and stronger and smarter than anyone else. And that was something I carried with me very early on, from the time that I started, at the bank, and obviously got a lot of that teaching from my HBCU upbringing in terms of just sort of really that excellence. And so it really, honestly, it starts there. And then I think, when it comes to, we talk a lot about fitting in and being authentic and this, that, and the other. I think one, you have to do your homework in terms of, whether you're with a corporation or if you are in a non-for-profit, whatever organization you are in and you are trying to take the take on leadership roles, you have to understand the culture and, understand how it is that you're going to move and whether or not culturally do the values of the organization align with, with you. So, because that's how you're going to really be able to show up at your best. I think where we often are challenged is when we're not showing up with our, I'm trying to use your full self or your authentic self when you're having to, in many ways, sort of mask who you really are. And I remember a mentor of mine years ago when we were talking about this, and he was saying, he says, well, it's kind of like, imagine going to work and you having to hold up a physical mask all day. So now you only have operation of one hand. So you can't be fully yourself. So figuring out what those organizations are, this is the advice I give, figuring out, what the organization are, does the organization align with your values, can you really truly, operate, because I can't be in a place where I don't think that it's really matching, with my value system. Right. And so those are the things that I say. And so if you do those two things, you perform well and you have the excellence and you find a place where you fit and you can really be your full self, I think that makes it all the more easier to take.
Wow, fantastic. Do you have a follow-up to that?
Yeah, I'm not a black woman. However,
You raised one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I wanted to add some input to
one.
Absolutely, yeah. So there are two black women who live in my house. Well, one's in college now, and the other lives in my house. And it starts with the understanding there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do. When I think about my daughter who is at DePaul right now, whenever she had a challenge, something that was, seemed to be tough for her, I'd always point her back to something that she thought she couldn't do. She was a gymnast for a number of years. And we walked into the gym when she was about 5 years old, and we'd see the older girls, flying from one uneven bar to the other, right? And my daughter, started kind of holding the bar, right? And I was like, remember when you couldn't fly from one uneven bar to the other bar, right? So it's about putting things in perspective in terms of the things that you couldn't do at one point, but you can do now. Things that were unimaginable to you. So it's reinforcing that to young ladies, that there's nothing you can't do. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because I've seen you do it before. So the fact that you will be able to do it, next. So,
Let's give our panelists a round of applause. They're doing such a great job. I've got one more question because you kind of dovetail in most of the questions I sent you ahead of time. And then I wanted to turn it over to, got you. I want to turn it over to the actual audience. If there are questions that you all have. So here's the last one I have for you all. In your view, what does the phrase effective community empowerment look like? And what does that look like beyond like slogans and jargon and campaigns? Like, again, brother of Mega Psi Phi, former DR, right? A sister of Delta Sigma Theta. We represent organizations that live service, right? And for those of us who are truly active in our respective organizations, for those Deltas in the audience, for those Qs, Alphas, Kappas, Sigmas, etc., we live these letters, right? And we just don't live the letters, we live the mission, we live the cardinal principles, we live the precious gems, the jewel, etc. But what does community empowerment then look like for you? As a professional, as a brother, as a father, as a husband, and vice versa.
Community empowerment really looks like telling the truth. And the truth is we've got work to do, right? I think a lot of people have gotten into this, feeling that there's not any more work to do. Now you're in the money business, that's what I'll call it, right? And the thought is that the black dollar, I think I've read, stays in the black community 6 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
And in other communities, it stays in almost a month, okay? We need to talk about that. We need to talk about the fact that who are the businessmen in this room who own their own business people in this room who own their own companies. How can we patronize you, right? We need to talk about that. So when we talk about community empowerment, it looks like making sure that we take care of home first. The reality is charity starts at home. It just does. And we can't help anybody until we help ourselves first. I come from an organization where our founders were very deliberate about our cardinal principles. They put uplift in there for a reason. They could have put any 4 words together that they wanted, right? But they finished with uplift because they realized that once you get to a certain point, you talked about keeping the door cracked, making sure other people get access to that door. It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to uplift those who are coming behind us. It's our responsibility to set the bar so high, but not so high that they can't reach it, but so high that they are inspired to it. So from a community standpoint, it speaks to telling ourselves the truth, making sure that we handle the black dollar in a way that empowers us. I'm not saying don't patronize people who don't look like you. Patronize everybody, but give some consideration to people who look like you. Yeah, right? Because a lot of times our products are just as good, if not better, right? But the fact is that you want something that everyone may have.
Sure.
So community empowerment looks like making sure we tell each other the truth, patronize each other, and continue to reinforce the greatness that's inside.
Love that.
I think I love the way you said all of that, because I think for me, it is all around sort of how we can be more supportive of the issues in the community and making sure that we are getting, I sit in a corporate seat, and so one of my personal missions is always to look for ways that I can reinvest in the community, whether it be through children, and I call it getting the babies jobs. I think even Brother Salaj, he invited me here, but I've heard him say to many young people, if you want your child to have an internship at City, have them call Tamika Anderson. And so, for me, it's about sort of how we can really use and leverage these places and spaces that we've gotten to be able to continue to pull those others up, as we all climb. And so,
Love it. Let's give our panelists another round of applause. Finish up in about 5 or 6 minutes or so, because we have a program we want to get to. We also want y'all to eat. All right. Some of y'all might be hungry. But any other questions for our panelists? Anything percolating in your mind before we turn the show back over to the leadership in the chapter? Question? Thoughts?
In the back, please, stand up, though. Yep.
If she has a question, you can go. Okay. Now, I was curious, right? Everyone's talking about Jeff Coles, Kappa Omicron, Spring 04, part of 8 o'clock.
Hey, Jeff, take it. Just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
So my question is related to the future of work. We've seen a lot in the press, a lot in our communities about job losses across corporations, even in the government. We've seen talk about how AI could potentially start to take work. I don't think it has yet, but it's there. To the extent you're talking to young people, and even you, Brother Doctor, what would you say to the youth coming up now that they should focus on as that high bar that they should aspire to, as far as what are some of the options that they should be thinking about when they're thinking about kind of stepping into their career paths?
So, from the HR lens.
All right, from the HR standpoint, again, we were talking prior to starting here, and I think you still should be pursuing things that you love, things that you have passion for, because that makes your life a lot easier. But now you also have to pursue that with your eyes, wide open. I thought you were asking about AI and the impact of AI on the workforce. There will be an impact of AI on the workforce, but here's the reality. The dreams or the goals that they have for AI, right now only 20% of the current power grid can actually support AI, okay? 20%. So what that means is that to fully realize where AI is going, it's going to take a bit. They have to figure out the power grid. So the race right now is to figure out who's going to own the power grid, who's going to power AI. But here's the thing about AI. It doesn't start with nothing. So you're still going to need somebody to populate the idea into the AI. You're going to need somebody to help the AI make the adjustment to get to where you want it to be. Because if you're just using AI in a fashion that it's, all right, well, give me an answer and I'm taking the answer, a lot of times you're going to come up with something that's not going to be useful. So the future of the workforce is AI is certainly going to be part of it, but there's still going to be a need for people to be invested. Still going to be a need for people who are passionate about the things that they do. There's not going to be a computer that's going to be able to replace a human being anytime soon. Again, I talked about 20%, right? Come back and talk to me when we get closer to 50% of the power grid that can support it, 60% of the power grid that can support it. So then I think it'll be looking a lot clearer in terms of what the future looks like.
I think when he immediately started posing the question, the first thing came to AI, and we always talk about, like, I was actually having this conversation with someone today, how at the beginning of the year, maybe you heard about AI, I don't know, like maybe once a week, but now it's an everyday conversation at work, in our communities, clearly, and it's very important. And so when I think about today's youth and what they should be doing, it is that sort of like understanding like how to ask questions and getting curious. So anything that you can do to just spawn and strike up that curiosity in our children and our youth, I think is what's gonna bode them very well as AI becomes a larger and larger part of like how we do work, because it will eventually sort of make its way into everyone's job. And so, but it's our role and responsibility to sort of really stay ahead of it and understand how we can partner with it to be more efficient and do more and so forth. So.
You have one more question before we finish up? Yep, I'll come up here.
Brother Doctor, can you respond to that from your side also?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Sure. If brothers ask me to respond, I mean, here's what I'll say on the AI piece. We're seeing an education now, right? So many components of education are now starting to be automated for the purposes of efficiency. And I think for people like me are trying to figure out how do we balance efficiency and effectiveness and still quality teaching. Because you can't sacrifice, I don't care what anybody say, a computer can't solely teach child. I mean, they can help, they got resources, but there's still a human component to learning, especially when it comes to our people.
Yes.
Culturally, we have a tradition by which black and brown people have learned through, elders, seniors, parents, bestowing information to generation to generation. I tell folks all the time, the best example of that, Thanksgiving and the holidays. Folks know how to make cakes. Folks know how to bake mac and cheese. Ain't nothing need to be printed. Am I right? Am I wrong? Don't let somebody come in with a printed recipe. You sit down where to print it. Because culturally, am I wrong? Because culturally, that's who we are as a people, right? And I think black educators, in particularly, I think we have to lean into that, though, right? Lean into the authenticity of what it is to be black. And I think the special piece about, being here in East Orange is that this is a black school district. This is the first school district I've worked in with majority black folks and black children and black administrators and a black superintendent. And so we have a responsibility, I believe, to lean into our blackness and leverage that. We have a black mayor and a black council and a black school board. And so if we can't get it done for our people, with all the talents, tools, and resources we have, in my opinion, there's no other place that can. So, Sam, I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to say that. Sister, your question.
Good evening. I'm Sora Sarita Oglesby, made in Ada Kappa, Spring 02, but I'm in North Jersey, fundraising chair, co-chair, excuse me. And so my question to you is, obviously we see that there is a very aggressive movement happening, especially particularly with black women. Over 318,000 of us have lost our jobs since January of 2026, and then the second right behind black men. And so you're sitting in the C-suite, right? And so you're in a position of power. How are you all managing microaggressions at this time? And how do you navigate through this experience, especially as we're going to be, having to endure this for the next 3+ years, to make sure that we maintain some level of power at the seat of the table?
Can we get a quick response to one more question as well? Sure.
Yeah, no, sure. I'll say it's just not easy, right? It's not. It is. It's a heavy weight, to really bear at this time. But I think that, again, just kind of going back to what I said earlier, it's about sort of really owning and having that level of responsibility and ownership when I'm in the seat, when we're having, calibrations and we're talking about sort of hiring decisions or promotion decisions or exit decisions, that we are making sure I'm holding my peers accountable for what's going on, and that if this is a decision we are making, that we're making it, with the right amount of data, that we have, concrete examples and that we're moving in a way. It's it's unfortunate because the reality is we have been disproportionately affected. It's a challenging situation, and and I have to leave it at that.
Let me say,
Good, talk to me afterwards.
We can talk afterwards.
But I'll reinforce the accountability part of it. I'm not a micromanager, but I want to make sure, as we're looking at people to rehire and candidates, all right, well, talk to me about are we interviewing diverse population of pool of candidates, right? I worked for a company where we were engineers mostly, and I was like, all right, well, I don't see any women applying. I don't see any women candidates. You tell me that none exist? Go find me one.
Right.
Go find me one.
Last question, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to basically touch base on our resources and our wealth management and our finances. In the Asian community, their dollar circulates their community almost 1 month. In the Jewish community, their dollar circulates almost 20 days. In the white community, their dollar circulates 17 days. In the black community, our dollar circulates our community for 6 hours. I think we all need to do a better part intentionally spending money in our community, supporting our businesses. That is the foundation of how we had Black Wall Street. That is the foundation why we have HBCUs, because we couldn't go to predominantly white colleges or universities. With that said, are there any initiatives that you guys are working on to recirculate or initiatives that support black businesses or foundations or capital management to put resources into our communities or funding for housing and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I'll talk about it on my level. Your impact is probably larger than mine. So from a fraternity standpoint, certainly in California, we're making that effort to put together a resource guide so brothers know where they can get the resources that they need. You know, from a professional standpoint, whenever we're putting on events, you know, I look to patronize, you know, organizations that are black women-owned, that are black-owned. You know, if we're bringing in catering, all right. Well, look, My Two Cents is one of my favorite restaurants, right? I need a quote from them, right? So patronizing in that way, which might not seem like it's a big thing, but it might be a big thing for them making their month.
Right.
So I'm deliberate about making sure that we spend our dollars on people who are black.
So from the professional perspective in Wood City, we do have, again, we had these things in under a number of different branches, but we now have what we call City Ascent Capital. You know, but it's very focused on the diverse financial institutions. So any of the black-owned banks, minority-owned, you know, deposit institutions, and seeing how we can get them into the bigger pieces of the pie. So when we're leading, you know, certain transactions, if they have a broker dealer, you know, under their banking order, so that they can, you know, participate in the deal and be a part of that issuance, you know, on behalf, and so thereby, you know, getting money into them that will eventually kind of flow, you know, into the black community, or using their capital with their depositors, you know, sort of into our place. The other thing I do, and this is something that I did, you know, personally within my business, because I do, I have, you know, consumer product and retail, which is obviously, you know, we as black folks, we love to consume. That this is part of it. But we found, and I know you told me to be brief. However, Bridgeforth Farms is a 5th generation black-owned farm out of Alabama, and Troy Bridgeforth has become a friend of City. And one of the things that we did recently is that we are just really trying to use the platform to bring more awareness to him. I'm introducing him to him and the Bridgeforth Farms. They're cotton manufacturers here in the U.S. and really leveraging this opportunity where we want to buy U.S. and have U.S. made things, where we have a U.S. cotton farmer by choice selling cotton, and helping to bridge some of those relationships and introductions into you know, the VF Corps, the tapestries, all of these very large, you know, consumers that are using cotton, and, you know, so you know, that's my thing in terms of just making those connections to make sure we get that dollar back to the people.
And I'll just jump in and add, you know, one of the initiatives that we're doing in East Orange Public School, and I want to just, you know, give credit, you know, just to our Board of Education and our board members. I know the boss was Wayne Stackhouse, one of our board members, is a huge initiative about making sure that we increase our supplier diversity for, you know, working with black firms, black consultants, black-owned, you know, book companies, because there are so many of us in these spaces, you know, who start off small and don't get an opportunity, at your point you shared, from a supplier diversity standpoint, to get to the door. Yeah, team.
No, the only point that I was going to make was you all didn't miss what you said. You said a cotton farmer.
By choice.
By choice.
Yeah.
Because some cotton farmers weren't cotton farmers by choice.
Right.
So I want to just say, let's give a round of applause for our panel. What a wonderful conversation. I want to thank you all so much for just allowing me the opportunity, you know, to just you know, engage with these two amazing professionals. I'm going to turn it back over to our Vice Bosses. Again, another round of applause.
Just want to give a token of appreciation if everybody could stay seated. Brother Boss, a few words.
First, again, let's give a round of applause for our panelists. We're grateful that we really understood what you were conveying. It makes a difference. And hopefully we can take what we had gathered and make it applicable to our lifestyle. And that way we can be effective throughout the community. Thank you, brother moderator, for coming in and joining and just, I would say, directing the conversation. We do appreciate you. But we want to give you all a total appreciation just for being here. Sister Tamika Anderson, Mrs. Tamika Anderson. Just come over. All right. Yeah, come on. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated Phi Chapter presented to Mrs. Tamika Anderson in recognition and appreciation for your outstanding contributions as a guest speaker during our Achievement Week program. Your dedication, insight, and commitment to uplifting our community through impactful service has inspired and enriched the lives of those who attended. Given under my hand on the 15th day of November 2025, fraternally, myself, Bosses Wayne Stackhouse, and brother Pierre Paul, who is our chairman. That's a lot. Yeah, just make sure it's right. I got you. All right, come on. Let's give another round of applause. Brother Kwame Dow, if you could just come forward and sign. Again, we appreciate your insight, but more importantly, we know we have some changes with Brother Wimberly, who now has responsibility to be here with us, but when we called him, he did not hesitate to answer calls. For that, we are grateful, we are thankful. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity 805 Chapter presented to Brother Kwame Dow in recognition and appreciation for your outstanding contributions as a guest speaker during our Achievement Week program. Your dedication, insight, and commitment to uplifting our community through impactful service through intentional friendship has inspired and enriched the lives of those who attended. Given upon my hand this 15th day of November 2025, yours in Omega, myself, Bosses Wayne Stackhouse, and our chairperson, Stephen Pierre Paul. Thank you so much. Dr. Irving, come on up here, brother. Dr. Irving has a, yeah. That's why we're glad you're here. You know, you do things out of your heart, you know, out of love for the brothers, and you don't expect anything in return. So we definitely appreciate it. And you have a way of guiding conversations and really articulate. Here we go. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity 805 Chapter presented to Dr. Christopher Irving in recognition and appreciation for your outstanding contributions as a moderator during our Achievement Week program. Your dedication, insight, and commitment to uplifting our community through impactful service has inspired and enriched the lives of those who attended. Given upon my hand on this day, the 15th day of November 2025, yours and Omega, myself, Bosses Wayne Stackhouse, and Brother Stephen Pierre Paul, who is our chairperson. Reach out, man. Smile, Tamara.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just have one more round of applause for all of the speakers. If you don't mind, before we get ready for dinner, we need to clear this room out. We're gonna set this room up for dinner. If you wanna make a call, if you need to use the bathroom, the brothers will escort you. We have a bathroom on the second floor, we have a bathroom on the first floor, but we're gonna change this room out to get ready for dinner. So we take maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and we'll be ready for dinner. Thank you.
The Citizen of the Year Award, the Superior Service Award, Founders Award, the Omega Man of the Year Award, and the Bossness Award. The Citizens of the Year Award. The Citizen of the Year Award is selected each year and is an outstanding citizen nominated for unusual contributions to humanity. The nominee should be a person of local and/or national recognition and acclaimed by society for outstanding contributions to the welfare of mankind. Omega men nominated for this award are not required to be financial, but must not be expelled, suspended, or on probation. You know, I'm gonna skip that. Listen. However, we do understand our Citizen of the Year Award does not necessarily come from within the chapter of fraternity, but it's someone that I say those who are not that nominated the person and voted upon, someone that we see as just being an outstanding person, one who perseveres through trials to make things happen. Every now and again, you run into people who sacrifice themselves for others to prosper. And so our Citizen of the Year Award goes to Miss Yolanda Jackson. Getting older, Annual Achievement Week, Citizen of the Year Award honoring Miss Yolanda Jackson. Greater love had no man than to lay down one's life for a friend.
First, I'd like to thank God for this achievement and for placing into my life the spirit of caring, compassion, and commitment, and unconditional giving. And I have to say, I look to my mom, who is sitting here, who has been my inspiration and continues to be my inspiration. And to my dad, who is no longer with us, that was my motivation. So I'm just going to put that out there. And I'm just thankful to the brothers of the mighty, mighty, mighty Ada Pi chapter. I cannot say my village who supports me, it makes it so that I am able to continue to give and continue to give and continue to give. Thank you so much.
Pardon me, everyone. This is not part of the program. I'm just kind of taking a little privilege, just so you can understand who this young lady is. No, very seriously. This sister here, right? She has been the president of nursing sorority, Chi Phi.
No, the nursing president for New Jersey Integrated, founder.
That part.
Of that part.
That part. All right. So that's just one thing, and with that, you know, she has collaborated with us on blood drives, and also one of the things that you don't know through her church. Am I right? Through her church, some of the things that she has done over and abroad in Ghana. You know, that she has put together supplies for school over there. I was there when they were, you know, distributing a pilot. Books, paper, computers, printers, and then she went a step further and put together the same collaboration with the chapter, with our foundation, her church, the nursing, and we, together with her leadership, put a borehole in Ghana. We put a borehole in Ghana. This is her. This is 16 of the year. You know, I know, you know, I'm sorry. I had to make sure they understood who this young lady is. You know, this young lady, she's humble, she's modest, you know, but she's a worker, and she's all about community, she's all about us, and she does her thing each and every day and looks for nothing in return.
Let's give another hand of applause for Ms. Jackson. I kind of feel like church in here. Yeah. Our Superior Service Award. The Superior Service Award is given to a member who has demonstrated outstanding contributions and sustained concern for the activities of the chapter. We have a young man who really goes above and beyond the call of duty, even at moments if he has to go by himself. Sometimes he rides around in a task force police armored truck, dropping off toys to all the schools. Sometimes we see him on the news hanging from helicopters, saving people. He runs on rocks, he jumps in igloos and below 30 degrees for training. But more importantly, he makes sure he connects us with the community to do the things that we do. Our last cardinal principle is uplift. And we truly believe in giving back to our community, giving back to those who are in need, and to brighten the day for anyone, young person, old person, whatever it may be. We are involved, but he has a lot to do with that. And so our Superior Service Award goes to Brother Shamik. Brother Shamik Sunday.
Just want to say thank you. Obviously, I'm just an extension of my line, and obviously an extension of the rest of the brothers in the chapter. Just going to continue to keep doing the work of the community Qs. Just keep it moving. That's it. Keep it short and sweet. Have a good
Come on, let's give another hand of applause. Our Founders Award. The Founders Award will be given to a member of the chapter who has exhibited the highest ideals of Omega's four cardinal principles: manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. The brother should be recognized for his contributions to the chapter that have enhanced the welfare of mankind locally. The nominee must, we don't read that, it's all good. But we make sure that we make the standards and do what we gotta do. But we talk about someone who thinks out the box, not only through local ventures, but trying to affect the world abroad. Well, we introduced his wife earlier, so they're a dynamic duo. So we're gonna ask for Irving Jackson. Come up here and get this.
First, let me thank my Lord and Savior, because you know, given this task, I look back at my past, and it directs my future. My connection with Ada Pi goes back to this brother named Bill Williams. He invited me to the chapter. I was only 2 years in. I came to the meeting. Brother Rouse threw me out. I was still an undergrad, bro. So you like to check that guy out. I don't know who that stranger is. That was one of my major mentors that helped me mature into a maker, to be part of this, what we call the community cues. And I look at the back table, I call them the Beta Brothers. During my time on the dais, only thing I'm trying to say, what we got here at Ada Pi, the collaborations when I was bossless, to bring my white organizations in so we could look at healthcare disparity in the community and vital men. This is what the brothers that generate and do here, and that's why we have this identity of being the community cues. So I want to thank the dais, the chair, and I ain't gonna cry, bro, so you
It is the man. Action Jackson.
Omega Man of the Year Award. I'm only going to read one sentence, so we won't talk about it. The Omega Man of the Year Award will be given to a member who has made significant contributions to the chapter and has served as an active member on at least one committee. The gentleman that we have given this award to has been one who I would say leads with enthusiasm. One that you never had to wonder what he felt, because he let you know in the spirit of friendship, always strategic, coming up with ideas and thoughts on how we can maneuver and do things as a chapter, and really gave not only himself, but opened up his house, open up his wallet to make sure that we accomplish certain things that were necessary. And so the Omega Man of the Year award, our immediate past bossless, Larry Martin Jr.
Thank you, Brother Ross. I'm going to be very brief, but I did want to say, brothers mentioned it earlier, I just want to say to my brothers, thank you to all my pro fights who came before me, who set the pace and set the standard for what work it takes to become Omega Man of the Year. I didn't do any of this work by myself. I did it because of the great team that we have here at 8 o'clock. One of the best things about this chapter, obviously this is the greatest fraternity in the world. I don't have to say that, but I did. But the thing that makes me love this chapter is our moniker, the community cues, right? If you have time, please take the time to look at our website, see the work that we do in the community. And with that being said, it's very important for the brothers to recommit to service and what we do, to make sure that we continue that work and take it to the next level, because obviously we're in very trying times and our community needs us more now than ever. This is a total surprise to me, so I'm going to talk to you later about that, Brother Bob. But I thank you for your time, and thank you all for coming out and supporting us, because without you, we don't get to do the work that we do.
Yes.
All right, so thank you. And that's
Amen.
All right. So just my disclaimer, your brothers voted you Omega Man of the Year. I didn't have anything to do with it. Well, no problems. Our last award is our Bossless Award. This award is going to, I want to say, he's fairly new to the fold, but he puts forth a tremendous amount of effort. He represents the chapter well. You know, I'm always surprised when I run into somebody. Hey, I met you at 23. Well, where you meet him at? Well, he's in Colorado. How you met him in Colorado? He travels all over the place and he talks to brothers like that's what we do. But he represents the chapter very well. Not only does he represents the chapter well, but he serves well. I don't know about you, but I don't know too many people that come all the way from Staten Island and come and service as a mentor, starts health initiatives. I mean, he has the brothers outside using kettlebells and trying to get back in shape. You know, some of the brothers say, come on now, you got to come on another plan, slow this down a little bit. You know, anytime you call on him, he's going to answer the call. He's going to do what he has to do. He loves our chapter. He definitely loves his pro fights. And we call the old guard. He definitely loves the old guard. Doesn't mind going picking people up and dropping them off like he's supposed to. But coming from Staten Island, that's right, 3-4 times out the week, still has this full-time job, still has a wife who loves him. Thank God she's a Delta. But handles his business. And it is always funny when, you know, you have a conversation with somebody about Staten Island. It's like, brothers in Staten Island, there's no chapter. They're like, yeah, but this one brother got this bald head who be training folks, and you know he be working with the kids. I mean, he's trying to turn the boys into men. And so this Bossless Award goes to for the Bali Johnson.
I accept this award with great humility, and like Brother Boss said, you know, all the men said that Man of Omega we don't do what we do to receive awards. We do what we do for the love of the community and the brothers. Okay, so we come from Staten Island, wherever I gotta go to do anything I do for the love of Omega and community is what's in me. Okay, one of my favorite poems is Bridge Builder, and that's why I work with the kids, because it's our job as Omega men to pour into them, because they have to travel the road that we travel. So we got to make what that clear understanding is and give them that gift of love and preparation. So I accept this award, and I appreciate my pro-fights for pouring into me and making me the Omega man that I am today. Amen.
Again, we thank you all for coming out and supporting this event. Thank you so much. Before we, I personally say this as a executive staff, this is our first event as a newly elected board for the 8 of Pi chapter. And we're grateful for everyone coming out to support. But you know, again, the conversation, it was a lot of, as they say, had a lot of substance, something we could chew on, that we could take and make it a part of us and make sure that's applicable in our day-to-day. And we just hope that as we continue to move forward and do things, that you all continue to support. Anytime you need us, please let us know. We'll be there. We have a holiday party coming up December 27th to help raise money, again, for scholarship. And it's going to be Saturday, December 27th at 10 June, which is at 49 Broad Street, North New Jersey, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. We call it Slay All Day Holiday Party. I'm asking for you all to come out. If you got to wear some flats, come on, wear your flats. Stretch a little bit before you get there, because we're going to spend, we do a mean two-step and everything. But we do this as a way to raise funds in today's times, in this climate, the things that are going on, our children need as much help as they possibly get. And so this is just a way to help try to deviate some of those costs that they are going to have to deal with. So you'll see it posted. If someone wants to buy a ticket today, you can see Brother Boyer here, our first vice, and we can definitely make that happen. But again, thank you for showing up and supporting. Thank you for your kind words. And to the recipients, keep on being great. You raise a standard that we all can emulate. We're proud of you. And you didn't just get the awards just to throw something at you. You did it because of the work that you do. You truly make a difference, and I'm glad we can give you your flowers while you're still here. We're going to, again, we're going to ask for our chaplain, who's our chair, to come and let him give some remarks.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for coming out this evening and spending time with us, fellowshipping with us, receiving a word in this fireside chat, and partaking in this award ceremony that we did, part of 8 Pi chapter. I, chairman this year for the Achievement Week ceremony. I want to say thank you for this opportunity to my chapters, my hostlers.
Good job, brother. Let us bow our heads. God, as again we say thank you for the time that we had together. We thank you for the camaraderie that was built, God. We thank you for the love that was shared. We pray that as we depart from this place and never from your presence, that we will go to our destination safely when we can find your presence. Lord, allow us to sleep well, allow us to slumber well, and we get up tomorrow, God, that we might praise you and say thank you for another day. We give it in the praise and the glory, for all belongs to you and you alone. Keep us, we shall be kept, and lead us, we'll be led the right way. We pour out our hearts, our minds towards you, and we give your name the praise and the glory. In the precious name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, as we social, we're going to turn on the news just a little while longer, still do some socializing, but if you want to depart, we can go ahead and depart. We need the Jacksons. They want to take a picture of the dynamic duo. All right. And all the award winners as well. And if you want a person to check a ticket to Slay All Day, please see Brother Warrior. And brothers, if you can, they want to get a photo by the staircase. Brothers, they want to get a photo by the staircase. All the brothers by the staircase. Brother Jackson, Sister Jackson, you want to take a picture? We're going to start a marriage ceremony in the podcast. All right, brothers, let's go to the staircase. All the brothers. Let's go to the staircase. We're going to take a brotherly picture.
I'll see you. Okay. Yeah, Monica's gonna drive.
I'm done with you. Okay, somebody
In our organization, it's to the north.